Welcome to your midweek edition of your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Wednesday, April 15. Mixed reviews from Barbadians as they resume shopping today under a new alphabetical system, which will run under the extended curfew. There were long lines at supermarkets, banks, and other outlets. Some shoppers told Barbados Today they were satisfied, while others call for improvements.
We're starting out from after 7, and if you realize half of these people still got C, D, E, and F. You understand? So you gotta get more than just 3 hours.
More than the 3 hours.
What time you came this morning?
About after 7.
Okay, and this is what time? How many hours you spent there? About
Well, I didn't spend as much hours in there as I spent outside waiting, because I get in that 8 minutes to 11. So outside waiting is the part of the time right now.
So what's the solution in your opinion? What can be done to ease the situation while still allowing Barbadians to get into the supermarket?
Oh my God. I guess you gotta get the letters a whole day, a half a day in cutting it. You need a whole day.
On the CDEF?
And with the limited time that you had, what did you prioritize in terms of your shopping? What did you buy?
Well, I buy things I need, toiletry, food things, the basics.
I'm happy with it.
What were some of the items that you would have made a priority, given that you had a limited time to shop?
Well, like meat, a lot of vegetables, and soap, bleach.
So are there any adjustments that you think need to be made to the system, or you think it's all good?
It's okay.
Supermarket owners say it was a busy day and they believe the system will settle down.
Once a customer knows that they have time to shop. Once you restrict the flow of water through a pipe, you're obviously gonna get tension and build up. But as you release that and give them more shopping days, I think that's what the government now has done. We'll open the shopping for 7 days. So we're very happy that they've taken that course, and I think we're going to see people spread out over the 7 days. At the moment, they're still not sure, I think. So we have a lot of people this morning. But as a customer, if you know that I can shop today, I can shop next week, sometime later this week and next week again, I think you're going to see a solution to this problem.
There's plenty of food in our supermarkets, in Barbados in general. And the supermarket can be open every day for the next 7 days a week, for the next foreseeable future. So there really is no need to panic or rush down here. And when you come in, we would like to encourage people to be considerate of all the other people that would like to get in and shop the basics, shop what you need.
Hardware stores reopened their doors today and they also had a number of customers. Marketing Director of Carter's, Brian Hurley, spoke briefly to reporters.
Most of the core items like plumbing, electrical, garden stuff are very popular.
And people are sticking to the alphabetical?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We are getting a few people that are trying to break it, obviously, but we've been managing that quite well, and we're encouraging everyone to please stick to it. We don't want to get anyone in trouble.
Acting Prime Minister Cynthia Bradshaw was out and about with Minister of Labour and Social Relations Colin Jordan to get a first-hand look at the new system, and she expressed the view that the system was off to a good start.
The retailers have worked with us through the system. We've been able to fine-tune the system for the most part, and with anything there will always be teething issues. The reality is that today is not unusual because we recognize that people would obviously not have had the opportunity over the last couple of days to be able to purchase items, and in some cases we are seeing people purchasing, or rather they're having full trolleys of items, which I believe they want to just stock up on a number of things that they didn't have the opportunity to get over the past couple of days. We're asking people to just make their list before they leave home, so that the traffic in the supermarket is restricted in terms of the numbers coming in, and that the time that you spend in the supermarket is reduced. We are asking as well that you adhere to the alphabetical system. It has been put in place and I think it is working considerably well across most of the entities.
Bradshaw was also pleased that shoppers and businesses had adhered to social distancing and other safety requirements.
This is not easy for Barbadians. It is an adjustment that we're all having to make. I, for one, don't like the idea of having to wear masks. But in the circumstances, I too appreciate that it is for my own safety, and it is also intended to protect other persons as well. And so I would encourage you to just continue to adhere to all of the messages that have been put out there to ensure that the numbers are contained, that you sanitize your hands, that you continue to recognize the physical distancing of the 6 feet from the person in front of you, and to basically comply with all of the things that we're putting in place to ensure that people are able to access the necessary goods and food supplies that are necessary during this period.
In other news this Wednesday, COVID-19 cases moved to 75 today after 2 more people tested positive for the viral illness. They are a 76-year-old man and a 59-year-old woman who both came into contact with a known case. 5 people have died from COVID-19 and 15 persons have recovered. There are currently 55 persons in isolation.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Continuing with regional news in Jamaica, a chaotic day in Spanish Town, Portmore and other sections of St. Catherine as a 7-day lockdown announced by Prime Minister Andrew Holness takes effect. We get the details from Television Jamaica's Anthony Lugg.
It's extremely hot here in Portmore, St. Catherine, and one can only imagine what it's like for these persons who are standing here outside the Progressive Food supermarket here in Portmore, St. Catherine, who have been here for close to 2 hours. I'm going to ask my cameraman Glenford to just pan so you can get a look of just how many persons there are waiting outside the supermarket here in Portmore, St. Catherine. Some of these persons have been waiting to get inside the supermarket for close to 2 hours. And these residents here are extremely frustrated. Now, one would remember Prime Minister Andrew Holness announced yesterday that persons would be allowed to shop based on their surnames. However, thousands turned up outside to supermarkets, wholesales like this one, just to try and get a grab of some food. You know, persons are telling us they need some water inside their houses, and that is the reality of these persons out here. Now, another important point to make here is that a lot of these persons aren't practicing the social distancing policy. It's extremely difficult because, again, the number of persons outside trying to get inside the supermarkets are so many, and it's extremely difficult. I move now to point out that earlier today and even now there was a high pileup of traffic. This is because a number of persons tried to leave the parish this morning but were stopped at some checkpoints, some along the toll road, some close to Mandela, and some of these persons were even turned back. Yes, they were turned back because they had no legitimate reason for being on the streets. Now, I move again and tell you that the residents here in Portmore, St. Catherine are extremely frustrated. The traffic here is extremely high, and the residents here are asking for something better to be done because they're saying that they will not be able to get the food they want.
On the international front, the head of the World Health Organization said on Wednesday he regrets U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to pull funding for the agency. But now is the time, he says, for the world to unite in its fight against the coronavirus.
We regret the decision of the President of the United States to order a hold in funding to the World Health Organization.
The head of the World Health Organization said on Wednesday, as the number of global coronavirus infections passed 2 million, that his agency would have to review ways to continue its work and fill any financial gaps after President Donald Trump announced he was halting U.S. funding to the agency, which he accused of, quote, severely mismanaging and covering up the spread of the virus.
The WHO's attack on travel restrictions put political correctness above life-saving measures.
A day after those remarks, the WHO's Director General called for world unity to fight the pandemic.
COVID-19 does not discriminate between rich nations and poor, large nations and small. It does not discriminate between nationalities, ethnicities, or ideologies. Neither do we. This is a time for all of us to be united in our common struggle against a common threat, a dangerous enemy. When we're divided, the virus exploits the cracks between us.
The United States is the largest donor to the World Health Organization, which is part of the United Nations. The U.S. provided more than $400 million to the WHO last year, roughly 15% of its budget, money that goes toward fighting the world's deadliest diseases.
WHO is not only fighting COVID-19, we're also working to address polio, measles, malaria, Ebola, HIV, tuberculosis, malnutrition, cancer, diabetes, mental health, and many other diseases and conditions.
Trump's decision to pull funding for the agency has prompted global condemnation from leaders in the political and business world. U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the move senseless, saying in a statement, quote, a weak person, a poor leader takes no responsibility. A weak person blames others. This decision is dangerous, illegal, and will be swiftly challenged. Billionaire philanthropist Bill Gates said on Twitter, quote, halting funding for the World Health Organization during a world health crisis is as dangerous as it sounds. Their work is slowing the spread of COVID-19, and if that work is stopped, no other organization can replace them.
WHO has been a long-term and still is a great partner for us.
On Wednesday, the director of the CDC, who is on Trump's own coronavirus task force, said now was not the time to address what went wrong with efforts to control the spread.
I think it's important at this point that we leave the analysis of what could have been done better and what maybe we did well to once we get through this.
Meanwhile, the former head of Britain's MI6 Foreign Intelligence Service said China concealed crucial information about the outbreak from the rest of the world and that it would be better to hold China responsible rather than the World Health Organization.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.